welcome to Any Minute Now TV with your host, the Atlantean Minuteman. I'm filming from France. It's a sunny day. It's about midday, and it's a good day to be alive. So, the resource-based economy is the topic of this video. If you want to hear my thoughts on it, go ahead, keep listening. If not, then go away. So, I'll try to keep this as brief as possible, although I can talk all day. I'm a proponent of the resource-based economy, but a very specific kind. And I'll tell you what I believe is the best way to implement a resource-based economy, and not just implement it, but how it would ideally function. So, without further ado, I will structure my talk in 3 parts. The first part will be how I believe the resource-based economy would be best organized. Secondly, some counter-arguments and counter-arguments. And finally, some final comments. So without further ado, let's get right to it. Resource-based economy. It was first, you can't really say that it was invented by Jack Fresco, but I think that the term was coined by Jack Fresco, and then it later spread to the Zeitgeist movement. It spread to many Marxists. Many Marxists are proponents of the resource-based economy. However, that's not that important. So, the best way to organize the resource-based economy is to have a state, to have private property, to still have companies and enterprises, and to essentially allow anyone to get what they need as long as they are working. So, the function of the state would be to track all the resources, all the goods and services that are made in the territory, and to give them unique serial numbers after they are produced. And this is the only function of the state, and of course to ensure that this system isn't being cheated. The role of the citizens would be to organize in companies as they do in a money world, and to produce as they do in a money world. Now, there would also be private property in the sense that a person can order for production any good that can be produced, and they would essentially wait in line to get that product. The same thing with services. Anyone can produce them, anyone can produce goods, anyone can form a company and get some people together, but the state has to be very strong, and the state has to give unique serial numbers to every single product and every single service that is produced and rendered on the territory. So, the main point that I wanted to make is what I've just said. Private property, enterprises, and the state as the mediator and as sort of, if you will, not necessarily the hand of the puppeteer's hand, but as a mediator of relations. So the state wouldn't necessarily be involved in producing. The state would just ensure that the whole market is running smoothly. Now, I want to keep this video short. If you have any comments on what I've just said, please drop me a comment or drop me a message. I'd love to debate with you. I have lots of free time right now. I'll get back to you as soon as possible. Let's get to the counter arguments. So, the counter arguments are, I have three. First one is, resources are listen to this. Resources are finite. Human needs are infinite. And the prices are the best regulator of that relativity on the market, and the best sort of determinant of the ability for humans to get the resources that they need. Digest that. That's a very strong counter argument, but I think that it is wrong. And it is wrong in almost all domains except one, and I'll explain what I mean. First of all, anything that comes out of the ground, or any animal that we use for food, that can be bred, will be infinite, as long as we keep the condition of the soil good. We'll always be able to grow. Number two, oil and gas. Gas we use for heating, which we don't need to, we can use electricity. Oil we use for gasoline in cars, and we use for plastics. Plastics, we can make hemp plastics, again grown from the ground. Gasoline, on the other hand, we would have to replace with electric transportation as soon as possible in order to be able to have a resource-based economy that functions. So, having said that, the final sort of thing where this counter argument is valid is in minerals. Minerals will be finite on this planet, and unfortunately we do not have enough minerals on the planet to be able to cater for everyone's needs, unless that statement is wrong, unless we actually have enough minerals on the planet to cater for everyone's needs. But by the time we use up all those minerals, we'll have found another planet to colonize, and we will have used its minerals. Now, we need minerals. Minerals are metals, mostly metals. We need them from construction to transportation to many different things. Yes. Second counter argument. Second counter argument is there would be no private property, as in communism. And this is where people tend to mentally relate the resource-based economy with communism, and this is where it all sort of gets confused. In order to ensure that there's private property, we would need the state to regulate the market by making sure that every good and service has a unique serial number. And assuming we can produce them all in enough quantity for everyone's needs, we will have a functioning resource-based economy. Finally, number 3, which is also equated with communism, is that lazy people would cheat the system, not work, and essentially take the benefits of the system and not contribute to producing. Now, there's ways to prevent that. The main one is to obviously let children and elderly people and special needs people to get away with not working. This is just common sense. So, the second way to limit that is to essentially to make everyone work. If everyone works in producing, then ideally that would be enough for everyone, because everyone's working and everyone has access to everything. So if everyone's producing, that means everyone can take. So in order to take, everyone who can must produce. And that is the system. Those are the counter arguments. Final comments, because this video is running a bit long, and they are how to implement the resource-based economy. I just want to comment on that, and why I think it's a bit impractical. So first of all, the best way to implement a resource-based economy on the entire world is to essentially have one big state which can be autarkic, which can be economically independent, and to essentially produce everything that it needs to have a properly functioning resource-based economy, and then to trade with other countries and to keep prices low. But essentially you're only allowing citizens of the country to be able to take resources for free, but if you're exporting, then companies and people have to pay. That way you have a zero production cost, which means that you can set the price. And if you can set the price, then you can set it at the most competitive levels, the lowest of all of your competitors, and that way you export more in the market. That way, that company, which is selling at cheap, can essentially invade the market. Once it invades the market, then it incentivizes that country and that market to turn into a resource-based market. So the only way to realistically implement a resource-based economy, in my opinion, is to have one big country and to have it implement a resource-based economy and essentially draw all the states around it into a vortex and make essentially like a virus take over all of the markets of the world. And this is the best way. The concluding statement, I think that a resource-based economy it's utopian. If it worked properly, I think it would be great because it would end poverty, it would end disease, it would end human suffering. Ideally, it would end war. And having said that, it's too big of a feat uh, to be accomplished in any country, in any part of the world, no matter how much money you have. And yeah, so that's it. Thank you for watching this video. If you have any comments, please leave me a comment in the video. Send me a message on YouTube. I'd love to discuss with you. As I said, I have a lot of free time on my hands. If you've got any questions, if you want to make some suggestions to me, send me a message or leave me a comment. Hit the subscribe button if you like my videos. I'll be releasing a lot more content on conspiracy theories, on economics, politics, the establishment, the whole load. It's gonna be nothing but the truth, the cold truth. So yeah, thank you for watching. Have a good day. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope I wasn't too boring. Atlantean Minuteman signing out.